The Time Traveler from the Past, Part 1. The forgotten machine, Ethan Cole, wasn't the kind of teenager who fit in. While others were glued to their phones or chasing likes, Ethan spent his weekends in the dusty attic of his grandfather's old Victorian house in upstate New York. The place smelled like mothballs and mystery, and Ethan loved it. His grandfather, Dr. Harold Cole, had been a physicist with a reputation for eccentric theories and late-night experiments. After Harold passed away, the house was left untouched, like a time capsule waiting to be opened. Ethan, curious and grieving, found comfort in exploring the relics of a man who had once told him, "Time isn't a river, Ethan. It's a maze. And some of us learn how to walk through walls." One rainy Saturday, Ethan stumbled upon a locked trunk beneath a pile of faded blueprints. Inside was a strange device, a metallic sphere about the size of a basketball, covered in gears, wires, and glowing symbols. Next to it lay a leather-bound journal, filled with sketches, equations, and frantic notes written in his grandfather's unmistakable scrawl. Prototype number 7. Temporal displacement confirmed. Warning, unstable. Must recalibrate before next jump. Ethan's heart pounded. Was this a time machine? He spent hours decoding the journal, cross-referencing the notes with diagrams etched into the sphere. The machine seemed to respond to touch, humming softly when he pressed certain panels. It was like it was alive, or waiting. That night, unable to resist, Ethan activated the device. Lights flickered. The attic shook. A pitched whine filled the air, and then silence. When Ethan opened his eyes, he was no longer in the attic. He stood in the middle of a dirt road, surrounded by wooden buildings and horse-drawn carriages. The air smelled of smoke and fresh bread. People in 19th century clothing bustled past, barely noticing the confused teenager in jeans and a hoodie. A sign nearby read, "Welcome to Cold Spring, EST 1842. Ethan had traveled back in time. Panic surged through him. The device was gone, either damaged or left behind. He had no way to return. But as he wandered through the town, he began to notice strange coincidences. A bookstore with a symbol matching one from the journal. A man selling pocket watches who looked eerily familiar, and whispers among townsfolk about the boy from the storm. Ethan realized he wasn't the first Cole to be here. His grandfather had been right. Time was a maze, and Ethan had just stepped into its heart. The Time Traveler from the Past, Part 2. The echoes beneath Cold Spring. Ethan Cole had never felt so out of place, or so strangely connected. Days passed in Cold Spring, and Ethan learned to blend in. He traded his hoodie for a linen shirt and boots, helped out at the local blacksmith shop, and kept his head down. But beneath the surface, his mind raced. The symbols he'd seen in his grandfather's journal were everywhere, carved into door frames, etched into old coins, even stitched into the hem of a merchant's coat. It wasn't coincidence. His grandfather had been here. One evening, while helping the blacksmith close up shop, Ethan noticed a loose floorboard beneath the forge. Curious, he pried it open and found a small metal box. Inside was a folded parchment, yellowed with age, and a familiar handwriting. "Ethan, if you're reading this, you found it. Good time is fragile. You must be careful." The machine wasn't just a tool. It was a key, and Cold Spring is the lock. Ethan's breath caught. His grandfather had left him a message. In the past, the note included a map of the town, marked with a red X near the old church on the hill. That night, under cover of darkness, Ethan made his way there. Damn. The church was abandoned, its windows shattered, its bell tower leaning like a tired sentinel. Beneath the altar, he found a trapdoor. It led to a hidden chamber. Stone walls, candle sconces, and a massive mural painted across the back. The mural depicted a glowing sphere identical to the time device, surrounded by figures in robes. At the center stood a man who looked eerily like Harold Cole. Ethan realized the truth. His grandfather hadn't just visited Cold Spring. He had been part of something. A secret society, maybe. Or a group of scientists who had discovered time travel long before it was ever theorized. Suddenly, footsteps echoed above. Ethan froze. A voice called out low and firm, "You shouldn't be here." A man descended the stairs. Tall, cloaked with piercing eyes. He introduced himself as Elias, the keeper of the echoes. He explained that Cold Spring had long been a nexus point, a place where time bent and folded. The device Ethan used had reactivated dormant energy, and now others were watching, not all of them friendly. Ethan demanded answers. Elias hesitated, then handed him a small crystal, pulsing faintly with light. This is a fragment of the original core. Your grandfather split it to protect the timeline. If you want to return home, you'll need to find the other half. Ethan's heart sank. The journey wasn't over, it was just beginning. But something inside him shifted. He wasn't just a lost teenager anymore. He was part of a legacy, a story written across centuries. And if he wanted to survive and protect the future, he'd even have to finish what his grandfather started.